Hello there, you beautiful people, and in this video we're going to finish off the health potion project, which is going to be quite an achievement. So in this lecture we've got quite a few things to do. First of all, we're going to make it possible to add the potion health to the original health of the user, or the character. Then we're going to make the program print out how much health the character has, so we can see if our code is working or not. After that, we're going to implement a difficulty system so that the potion gives less health on higher difficulties. By the end of this video, you'll have a functioning model for a health potion that you'll be able to show your friends. Pretty cool, right? Now, not only that, but you'll have tied together everything you've learned so far in the course, and you'll hopefully have a rock-solid understanding of variables and numbers. So let's get into it. Alright, so this is where we got to last time, back in our health.py script. Now, the next thing that we need to do is to take this potion health right here, which is a random number between 25 and 50, and add that somehow to the original health that the player had. So, as a micro challenge to you, I want to see whether you can do this, okay? What I want you to do is to store in the box called health the value of what the health is currently, what the health is now, plus the potion health. Okay, so let's see if you can do that. Pause the video and try on this line, so a couple of lines down, just try and store in the health variable whatever the current health is, plus the potion health, and check back here to see how you did. So how'd you get on? Did you manage it? Well, here's how I'd go about it. I'd type health equals health plus, let me shift my mouse, health equals health plus potion health. Okay, so what's going down here? Well, we've got a box that's called health, and we're using the assignment operator to stick a new value in it. So what are we putting in? Well, we're taking whatever the value of health is now. So Python's going to look inside the health variable and see 50. So we've got 50 plus potion health. So let's say potion health was 30, for example. Python is going to evaluate whatever's on the right-hand side of the assignment operator and see 50 plus 30, and it's going to add those together to get 80 and store that back in the health variable. You can kind of overwrite a value using itself, which is pretty cool, right? Alright, so to check that everything is working correctly, we need to now print the new value of health onto the screen. So let's make this another micro challenge. I want you to figure out how to use Python's print function to print the new value of the character's health onto the screen. So go ahead and pause the video now and use the print function to print the health value onto the screen, and come back when you're done to see how you did. So how'd you get on? Hopefully it went well. Here's how I'd have done it. So we want to print the new updated value of health. So simply, I would have just typed print health. Now there's one thing I want you to notice here. Can you see the way that the word print has gone purple? Well, just like import up here went yellow when idle showed us that it had a special meaning, likewise print has also gone purple to show that it's a built-in function. So when you see words go purple, that means they're a built-in Python function or a reserved word. So that's just idle letting us know that we spelt things right, or that we're doing things correctly. Now up here we kind of put the new value of health inside a box called health, didn't we? Now to print that out, we just have to type the variable name. So Python's going to look inside the box called health, get the value, which let's say it's 70 or something, and when we print it, it's going to show up on the screen. So if I save this file by pressing Control and S, alternatively you can go File and Save if you're old school, and then we can click Run, and what we see is 97 pop up on the screen, which is pretty neat. So what happened was, our health started at 50, potion health became a random number between 25 and 50, which in this case I guess was 47, and we added that to the original health, so 50 plus 47 is 97, and we printed 97 to the screen. So that's pretty neat, right? So what have we got next? Right, the last thing we need to do is we need to make some kind of difficulty system. So what we want to happen, let me just close this here. What we want to happen is for the player to get less and less health at higher difficulties. Now the simplest way that I can think of doing this is to create a variable called difficulty and set that equal to a value between 1 and 3. 1's going to represent easy because it's the lowest difficulty, 2's going to represent medium, and 3 is going to represent hard. Again, the thing that I'm trying to get across is the way that we're using variables to represent concepts in the real world. So you can see how useful numbers are, right? So let's make this step for now. As a micro challenge, at the top here, near where we've defined health, so let's say here, I want you to define a variable called difficulty and set it to easy mode by default. Okay, so just set it to easy mode using the number scheme we mentioned earlier. 1 being easy, 2 being medium, and 3 being hard. So create a variable called difficulty, set it to easy, and then come back to see how you did. So how'd you get on? Well, as we're setting the difficulty to easy mode, I'd do something like this. Difficulty equals 1. Simple as that, right? If you got that, then brilliant. You understood what I was talking about. Now, as if they were on medium mode, we just say difficulty equals 2, or if they're on hard mode, difficulty equals 3. But for now, we're on easy. So now we need some way to allow this difficulty to affect how much health the potion gives our player, which means we need to modify our potion health variable using this difficulty value. So one way that I can think of doing that is simply to just divide the health that's here by the difficulty. Because what's going to happen is, as the difficulty gets bigger, we're going to be dividing by a bigger number, so the potion health will become smaller and smaller, which means on higher difficulties, the player is going to get less and less health from the potion. Makes sense, right? So if I run this now, Python's going to tell me to save it, so I'll save. And we see we get 98.0. So that's pretty good, but now we have this decimal point that's popping up that we didn't have before. Now the reason is, it's because, do you remember a few lectures ago, I said that whenever you divide in Python 3, you get a float. And a float is different to an integer. Floats are decimal points, and integers are whole numbers. And we want this as a whole number, this potion health. What we've got at the minute, we've got a float plus an integer, and that's going to give us a float, because it can't lose the precision. It can't lose the decimal point values, so it needs to just add it. So what we need to do is we need to convert this value, whatever it is, into an integer. And the way we can do that is with something called casting. So casting is where basically you force a certain piece of data to become another type. So we want to force it to become an integer. So what I can do is I can type int, open the brackets, and now you can see actually that it's gone purple, just like print went purple down here, showing that we've got something right. And we're going to put inside the brackets all of this stuff. And what that means is that it's going to calculate potion health, just like before, and convert it into an integer. So now when I run that, you can see now, oh, they got the maximum health. Brilliant. So what that means is we now only get integers out because we got rid of the float in our calculation. You can convert between pretty much all kinds of compatible data types in Python, but for now, this is how you do integers, convert to integers. You can convert to floats as well using the float keyword like that. And what we can see is that as I increase the difficulty, say I give it to 3, and now it's on hard mode, what we're going to see is that on average, I mean, they did quite well there, 61. On average, they're going to get much lower than if I put the difficulty on 1. So now it's much more likely they'll do higher. So you can see they got 80 there, whereas before they only got in the 60 range. Awesome. We now have a fully functioning health potion with a swanky new difficulty system. Why not share the code you've made with your friends and show them how it works? I bet they'll be very impressed. So let's just go over really quickly what we've done in this lecture. We started off by allowing our script to update our player's health with the random health that Python generated. This basically means we've added health to the player. This concept of overriding variables is very useful, and you should make sure you've got it down as it comes up all the time. After that, we moved on to make our script print out to the screen the new health of the character using Python's print function. This was just so we could check that everything was going as expected. After that, we implemented a difficulty system, again by using numbers to represent the different difficulties. Numbers are amazing for representing real-life concepts, and we use them here to represent difficulty. But we found that by doing it in my chosen way, we got a little bit of an issue where we would get health values with decimal numbers. This meant that we were getting float variable types instead of integer variable types, and we only want to work with whole numbers in this project. So to fix this, we used casting. Casting is simply where we convert one data type into another. In this case, we converted a float into an integer by using Python's int function, but you can convert from an integer into a float using Python's float function if you wish. Whew, I mean, that really is quite a lot we covered in this video. So I hope you're really proud of yourself for finishing the project, and I hope it serves as a badge of honor that you've fully absorbed the variables section and the numbers section of the Python Bible. Now, in the next lecture, we're going to be talking about some extra things that Python can do with numbers, such as trigonometry, rounding numbers, powers, square roots, and other useful things which may be interesting to you by using the math module. However, this lecture is optional, so take it if you feel like it, but if you're not particularly interested, then feel free to skip it and head over to the section review for a quick recap of what we've learned in this section. Either way, I'll be there, so I'll see you in the next video.